Hello everyone, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am bringing you guys my very last book haul of 2020, and I have just about 30 books I think to show you guys. I have been accumulating these books over the past couple of months. So without further ado, let's just get into it. The first 4 books I have are all by Tessa Dare actually, and you might be a bit confused because I actually own 3 of the 4 books that I'm holding already. But the reason why I bought these 3 books again and then this 4th book is because I recently found out that the Ripped Bodice, which is a romance bookstore in LA, here is the bookmark that they gave me. You probably can't see it very well, but they are a very popular romance bookstore, an indie bookstore in the Los Angeles area. So essentially they have this program where different romance authors that live around the LA area, I guess, they come in periodically and will sign books to be sold to consumers, whether that be in store or online, because they ship, I'm pretty sure they ship internationally, but they definitely ship all over the United States at least. And so I recently found out about this, and Tessa Dare is one of the authors that periodically comes in and signs books. You can basically order any of Tessa's backlist titles, and for no additional charge, she will sign and personalize them, which is incredible. So when I saw that, I knew that I had to get all 3 books that are already out in her Girl Meets Duke series. This is her most recent series and definitely her most popular and my personal favorite as well. Here we have the Duchess deal, and then she did sign it. It just says for Rachel and then Tessa Dare, and she did that for all 4 of the books I got. So I have the other 2 books in the Girl Meets Duke series, which is the Governess Game and the Wallflower Wager, and then I decided to get myself a copy of How the Dukes Stole Christmas, which this is an anthology of Christmas themed short stories. Tessa Dare wrote one, of course, and then Sarah McLean, Sophie Jordan, and Joanna Shoup also wrote short stories. And this bind-up is actually how I first discovered both Sophie Jordan and Joanna Shoup. So yeah, she signed this one as well, and she even put Happiest Holidays, and I'm just so happy to have these copies on my shelves now. Next up, I have Sapphire Flames by Elona Andrews. So Elona Andrews is an author duo. It's a husband and wife author duo. And Sapphire Flames, you can think of this either as book 4 of the Hidden Legacies series, which is a urban fantasy / paranormal romance series, or you could think of this as book 1 in the 2nd trilogy of the Hidden Legacy series. So I'm slowly but surely collecting physical copies of this whole series because I read book 1, which is Burn for Me, a few months back, and I just adored it so much that I knew that I needed to have physical copies on my shelves. And I love the covers of this new trilogy. I will say the covers for Burn for Me and like that whole first trilogy, they do look kind of cheesy and like not great quality, but these covers are beautiful in my opinion. Next up, we have Stranger Planet by Nathan W. Pyle, and I actually have the first book in this little comic series. I have Strange Planet and this is Stranger Planet. I am so happy to have these little comic collections. This is what the art style looks like. I'm sure you recognize this artist from Instagram, but I am so excited to have these books on my shelves because I think this will be a great choice for when I do 24-hour readathons, because it'll just be a great palate cleanser from when I'm reading something really heavy. Then I can just let my brain relax by like reading one of these books. So I'm really happy to have them in my collection. And then 2 books I have right here are actually books that my mom bought off of my Amazon wish list for Christmas. So the first one is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This is the WordPress cloth-bound edition that you can get these from Amazon. And from what I can tell, you can't get these editions anymore off of Book Depository, which is how I got my Jane Eyre edition. So I'm a little confused about that, but they definitely have these on Amazon. And this one has like coral sprayed edges, and it's just such a stunning edition. This is definitely a book that I need to read. There are so many romance novels that pull inspiration from Pride and Prejudice or are retellings of Pride and Prejudice that it just is past time that I finally have this on my shelves and finally read it. So thank you so much, Mom, for getting this for me. And then the other book that she got me off of my wish list is Wolf Song by TJ Cloon. So a couple weeks ago, I finally read The House on the Cerulean Sea, which one of my favorite books of all time. I mean, it's just such a phenomenal book. And after reading that, I have realized that I need to read every single book that this man writes. So Wolfsong is book 1 in a male-male paranormal romance series, and I've heard nothing but phenomenal things about all the books in the series, but definitely this first book, Wolfsong. So I am so excited to have a physical copy on my shelves. And then I just had to get myself physical copies of both Wolf by Wolf and Blood for Blood by Ryan Groudon. If you guys have been watching my recent wrap-ups, you will know that I absolutely devoured and adored Wolf by Wolf, which is the first book in this speculative historical fiction duology. And then Blood for Blood I recently finished a few days ago, and I absolutely loved this one as well. It's just a fantastic duology that centers around the idea of what if Hitler and the Axis powers won World War II. Next up, I have most of the books in Rochelle Mead's Succubus Blues or the Georgina Kincaid series. I think I actually did haul Succubus on Top, which is the second book in my last book haul, but in case I didn't, here it is. This is the second book, and then I got a lot off of eBay of these last 4 books, so I'll just quickly show you the covers. This is Succubus Dreams. I read this about a week or 2 ago, absolutely loved it. This is one of my absolute favorite adult paranormal romance series in general, in case you don't know. Next is Succubus Heat. Then we have Succubus Shadows, and the 6th and final book is Succubus Revealed. So I am so pumped to finally have this whole series on my shelves, because I knew even like before the halfway mark of reading the first book, Succubus Blues, that this was going to be like the perfect paranormal romance series for me. Next up, we have Loveless by Alice Oseman. This is the UK cover, so I got this off of Book Depository. But this is Alice Oseman's most recent release, and you know what? I have heard some pretty mixed reviews about it, so I don't know. I'm really hoping that I'll love it, but I'm just gonna read a little bit of the synopsis. It says, Georgia has never been in love, never kissed anyone, never even had a crush, but as a fanfic obsessed romantic, she's sure she'll find her person one day. So I know that this is a lot about this main character's discovery of her own asexuality. Like I said, I've heard some people just rave and rave about this book, and some people not so much, so I'm really interested to see what I will think of it. Next is a new romance from Avon that I am so excited about. This is, spoiler alert, by Olivia Dade. I just love the aesthetic and the colors on this cover. It's just everything, and as you can tell, we have a plus size heroine. I am so here for that. Olivia Dade has written quite a few romance books at this point, but this is her first book, I believe, that is being published through Avon through a big publisher. But this one I know has to do with cosplaying, and I know that the hero is a Hollywood actor. I just need more plus size representation in the romances that I read, so I am so excited about Olivia Dade in general, because like I said, she has a lot of backlist titles that I believe are indie published. Next up, I have 2 books in a fantasy romance series. So that is The Bridge Kingdom and The Traitor Queen, both by Danielle L. Jensen. So I don't know too much about this plot, so I am going to read a little bit of the synopsis. It says, Laura has only one thought for her husband on their wedding day. I will bring your kingdom to its knees. A princess trained from childhood to be a lethal spy, Laura knows that the Bridge Kingdom represents both legendary evil and legendary promise. So when she is sent as a bride under the guise of fulfilling a treaty of peace, Laura is prepared to do whatever it takes to fracture the defenses of the impenetrable Bridge Kingdom. So I've heard that this has some great enemies to lovers realness, and I've heard that this author in this series is perfect for fans of Sarah J. Maas and Jennifer L. Armentrout, you know, authors like that. So I'm really excited to have copies of both of these books. As far as I know, I think this is only a duology. I haven't seen any information about there being a 3rd book, but I will definitely check that out. Next up, we've got a heavy book. This is Solutions and Other Problems by Ali Brosh. So this is her second, I would say it's a graphic novel release. I actually have her first book, which is simply titled Hyperbole and a Half. So Ali Brosh is the author of basically a webcomic called Hyperbole and a Half. That's also the name of her website. And so in the last few years, she has published now 2 books. But I have been a fan of Ali's artwork and her humor for a really long time. So I'm glad that I can support her by buying her second book, and I am really excited to get to it at some point. Next up, I have The Invisible Life of Addie Larue by V.E. Schwab. What's so exciting about this copy, as you can tell it is a Book of the Month copy, is that with Book of the Month, during your birth month, you get a free add-on book, completely free. So I was able to snag this really beautiful copy of The Invisible Life of Addie Larue, and I think the Book of the Month that I got was In a Holidays by Christina Lauren, and I actually, oh, that's like all the way back there on my shelves, but you guys have seen the cover for that at this point. And I've talked about that book quite a bit on my channel, so it's fine. I feel like this book needs no introduction. It's been so hyped up on booktube, and it's one of my favorite books of the year as well, and I'm just so happy that I got this beautiful copy for free. Next are 3 books by the same author. This is an author that I discovered this year. I read The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levinseller, I think back in May, and I just devoured and adored that book so much that I knew that I needed to buy all of her backlist titles and read them as soon as possible. So the first one I have is Warrior of the Wild. This is a standalone fantasy, I guess you would say. It says, how do you kill a god? As her father's chosen heir, 18-year-old Rosmira has trained her whole life to become a warrior and lead her village. But when her coming-of-age trial is sabotaged and she fails the test, her father banishes her to the monster-filled wilderness with an impossible quest. To win back her honor, she must kill the oppressive god who claims tribute from the villages each year or die trying. So I've heard pretty good things about this one. As far as I can tell, this was her first book that she ever published, at least with like a big publisher. And then I also got The Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen. So this is a duology by Trisha Levinseller. I'll read the back of this first book. I've heard nothing but great things about this, by the way. It says, there will be plenty of time for me to beat him soundly once I've gotten what I came for. Sent on a mission to retrieve an ancient hidden map, the key to a legendary treasure trove, 17-year-old pirate captain Elona deliberately allows herself to be captured by her enemies, giving her the perfect opportunity to search their ship. More than a match for the ruthless pirate crew, Elona has only one thing standing between her and the map: her captor, the unexpectedly clever and unfairly attractive first mate Raiden. This sounds so great. Literally, like, all 3 of these books sound amazing to me. And what I love about Trisha Levinseller is that she writes just the most badass main characters. So I'm really excited to read all 3 of these books at some point. Next up, we have The Extraordinaries by TJ Cloon. Like I said earlier in this video, once I read The House in the Cerulean Sea, I knew that I needed to own and read all of TJ Cloon's books and backlists and all of that. So this is book 1 in a YA series. I have heard it compared to Renegades by Marissa Meyer, but it says Nick Bell is not extraordinary, but being the most popular fanfiction writer in the Extraordinaries fandom isn't a bad start. While masked heroes with superpowers perform real feats of bravery amid the clouds and in the shadows of his city, Nick is satisfied writing fictional stories about their heroic and romantic exploits, which he fondly posts online instead of finishing his homework. And then it sounds like something happens and maybe he is extraordinary after all. I'm not really sure. Next up, I have 2 gorgeous collector's editions. The first one is The Beauty and the Beast. This is a pretty popular collector edition. I got this one off of Amazon. This is just a stunning edition. There's a lot of like multimedia aspects to it, and little like pop-up things that look really cool, just to kind of give you an idea of what we have going on. I have never read the original Beauty and the Beast story, so I knew that this was the perfect book to have on my shelves because this is a story that has always meant so much to me ever since I was a very little kid and I watched the Beauty and the Beast animated version that Disney put out. Yeah, I will always read retellings of this, and I just adore the story so much, so I'm really excited to have that. And then next I got the gorgeous, stunning, revolutionary collector's edition of A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I already have the collector's edition of Throne of Glass on my shelf, so I knew that I needed to have this, and it comes with a little red string so that you can pull out the book itself. I have not looked at this yet because it was shrink wrapped, but can we discuss? Oh my goodness, we have Feyre hunting in the woods, and then the back is the wolf in the woods, and then there's the spine. Let's see. Ooh, these end pages are so shiny. And then let's see. Oh, the chapter headers are really pretty. We've got like some thorns and roses. And wow, I am so happy that I now have this on my shelves. It's definitely not an inexpensive book by any means, but I decided to kind of splurge for myself since it was around the time of my birthday when I decided to finally buy this. Next up, we have another book that I just had to buy myself a physical copy of because I just loved this book so much in 2020, and that is Middle Game by Seanan Mcguire. This is so far a standalone adult fantasy story. I'm not going to go into the plot because there's just a lot going on, but this is one of my top favorite books of 2020. I just think it's absolutely phenomenal and more people need to read it, so I am so excited to have this on my shelves. And then next I have my physical copy of Crazy Stupid Bromance by Lyssa Kay Adams. So I actually bought a signed copy from Schuler Books, which I believe is the bookstore that is local to Lyssa Kay Adams, so I am just so happy to have a signed copy of one of her books on my shelf. All right guys, we have just a couple books left for this book haul. The first one is Wires and Nerve by Marissa Meyer, art by Doug Holgate and Stephen Gilpin. This is the graphic novel duology. So this is a duology of graphic novels that takes place after the events of her very popular Lunar Chronicle series. So I'm just going to quickly take these out. We have volume 1 right here. I really love the art style. I cannot wait to read these. And then we have volume 2, Gone Rogue. So yes, the art style is really cool. I cannot wait to read these at some point. And last but certainly not least, we have this gorgeous edition. It's the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of Jurassic Park and the Lost World by Michael Crichton. So this edition has silver foil edges, which I do not own any books on my shelves that have silver edges, and I'm just really excited to have this book on my shelves finally because I've been wanting to read Jurassic Park for a really long time. And I mean, it's a movie that we all know and love, a movie franchise that we all know and love, but I have heard that the book just does some things better than the original movie, so I cannot wait to read this as soon as possible. All right guys, that's going to be it for my last book haul of 2020. I hope you guys enjoyed. I would love it if you would leave the stack of books emoji. I will leave that picture right here if you have gotten to this point in the video. I would also love it if you would leave a like and subscribe, and I thank you in advance if you do. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!